welcome to the first episode of Feel a Singer for 2023. This is season 2. I'm Mel Lathuris, and I want to speak to you about just a couple of things, a couple of tweaks that I'm making this year so that I can not only function better as a singer and the balancer of multiple projects, but also thrive. And, you know, one of the things that how I would describe myself is I'm a big ideas woman. I tend to get, you know, quite a lot come to me through the day. And now I'd actually like to execute, you know, the majority of them. If they, you know, if they're good and, you know, I think that it's going to be of service to others and also fits in with my values and that kind of thing. But up until this point, and I'm going to be really honest, I haven't been as forward thinking. Now, don't get me wrong, I get the ideas and I do put them in place. However, it's quite pacey in terms of the time management. So I grab pockets of time and, you know, there's some weeks where I don't feel like doing anything and I'm quite flat, but other weeks where I can pack quite a lot in. But what actually seems to happen is I'll get a great idea. Like, for instance, at the end of last year, I wanted to do a Christmas concert with Yas Queen. That's the femme-led jazz band that I'm in, and wanted to do it for the swing dancers. And it was a great idea and got a little bit of momentum behind it, but then it didn't happen because, you know, December, you just don't really feel like doing much. It's just one of those kind of like, you know, months where the energy is, you know, we just kind of release all of those, you know, tensions that we've built up over the year, and we just want to relax. And, you know, and also too, as a musician, there are competing gigs that we do. So it didn't happen, and it was such a great idea, and it's going to happen this year because I've already planned it. I've already got a date for it. I've got a venue idea as well, and I've got already scheduled when I'm going to be, you know, getting in contact with who to book venues and thinking about lineup and repertoire. And I've, you know, already got promo material because I made that last year. But yeah, so that's going to be the different skill that I'm playing with, and it's already happening. Is this forward planning, and it, oh God, even the sound of it makes me dry up a little bit. But look, I'm going to tweak with it and use it and see if I can, you know, use it, but also still create or have flexibility for my personality type as well. So this is the thing. I think sometimes as creatives, we tend to poo-poo, you know, some of these, I guess, dry ideas or strategies that come from the corporate world, but actually we can use them and we can tweak them and make them ours. And that's what I'm aiming to do with this forward planning. So I'm just letting you know what I've done so far. Number 1, I've decluttered. This has happened over the last few weeks. I have just gone through, I've literally gone and found every single pen that I've owned, and I went and donated it to a school. Obviously I kept a couple, but I had hundreds and hundreds of pens. So, and I even sharpened all the pencils. I had sharpeners and rubbers. I've just collected all my stationery and I went and gave it to a school. Because I know, like, as a teacher, as an ex-classroom teacher, you're forever, you know, giving away stationery to kids. So, yeah. So that's what I did. So going through all my forms, going through all my books. So creating space, energetic space for, you know, just to breathe and to think and create and to bring in more opportunities. So on a, you know, energetic level, decluttering is one of the most powerful things you can do if you want to bring in new opportunities. And, it creates a real, you know, buzz-like energy in your psyche. So, yeah, that's what I've done. So, number 1. 2, planning. So, this is what I've just been speaking about. So, I have gone and listed every single month. That was pretty easy. That was the easy part. And then I've gone, okay, well, you know, what can I fit into a month? And I've gone through and I've thought, you know, in terms of profitability, because obviously I'm a sole trader, I'm on my own, and I've got to think in terms of, okay, as much as, you know, being of service and creating stuff that is going to help, thousands, hundreds of thousands of people would be ideal. That I also need to pay my rent and I need to pay my car payment and yada, yada, yada. So I've got to think in terms of profitability. So I've gone through and said, okay, well, I'd like to do 2 paid online workshops a month. I'd like to have at least 3 gigs, whether it's Yas Queen or Little Mel is a new project that I've just created. I'm just doing mostly soul jazz, or with Harvey Blues. So I want at least 3 gigs a month. And I've gone, okay, well, I'd like to also do one in-person corporate workshop. So going into corporate environments or even schools and helping teachers with their vocal production, so that they can communicate more effectively because, they've got a few more strategies around, their voice management and technique. And so I've decided that's what I want to do. And also too, there's a few different projects that I want to launch, including some online courses. So I've just gone through and listed all the things that I want to do, like all the projects, and ideally how many things that I want to do. And I've gone through each month and then just listed underneath, when those things can sort of take place. And also too, I was starting to get a bit overwhelmed by it, to be honest. I was like, and then I was like, no, this is just a draft. You don't have to do all these things. If you get to a point where you're just like, no, this isn't going to work, we just tweak. We're the creators and we call the shots of our own life. So, if something isn't working or, it's just feeling like it's too much, we can tweak it and we can make it more suitable to how we're feeling or our personality or our values. Anyway, so that's what I did today. So planning. The other thing I did, so something that occurred to me, and I'm going to be really honest, is that because I've sort of fallen out of a bit of a routine with my singing practice, I've gone, okay, well, this is something you've never done before. I've never scheduled time in to go, hey, this is my singing practice. I've only just ever grabbed pockets. So now between the hours of 8 and 10, I'm going to be doing my singing practice, my repertoire development, so finding the songs that I want to do, charting them up, that kind of thing. And those 2 hours are going to be just for my music development. So singing, practice, and like I said, repertoire building. And that way, when I get to my gigs, I'm not going to feel like, I don't know, oh God, I'm just doing all the old standards again because I don't know any new ones. And do you know what I mean? And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with turning up and going, I just want to make this really super easy and I'm just going to sing all standards. But I'm at this point where I really want to push myself a bit more. I'm here coaching other people to push their boundaries. I'm like, are you pushing your boundaries? And to be honest, with the music, I have been, and then I kind of fell off the bandwagon just over the holidays. But so I'm getting back on it by just marking that time in as a non-negotiable. So literally, I'm going to be putting my phone on Do Not Disturb. And during that time, I'm going to segment it, by the way, because 2 hours is a big block. So it'll be like 20 minutes of vocalizing, maybe 30 minutes of like building lists of songs, that kind of thing, or learning a new song or 2, trying to fit a couple of those in that practice. But yeah, it's non-negotiable. There will be no ringing. And also that phone, oh my goodness, will be put in another room, and even my Apple Watch, it's going off because I just can't be distracted during that time. And let's see what happens. I'm really excited to see, what changes. Well, 1, I'll know more songs and I'll be more organized at gigs with my charts, but also 2, vocally, I'm really excited. Now 3, movement. This is the last one that I'm going to talk about for this session because there's a few other things that I want to focus on, but let's just keep it to 3. So decluttering, I'm getting into planning mode and forward thinking and scheduling, And the third one is movement. Oh my God. That has been, I can't tell you how resistant I am to exercise. Like last week I did lazy girl yoga, which by the way is just Zentai Shiatsu. I just got to lie there and the practitioner just sort of twisted and turned me around and that kind of thing. And that's probably the extent of my exercise. Now there's been a couple of times where I've had to walk to an appointment here in West End. So I got out of the house and got a few little steps up. But yeah, walking, movement. Okay, so this is what I've done and let's see what happens. I've reached out to some friends because I'm very good at keeping my end of the bargain when there's another person involved. So yeah, saying to someone, I'm going to be meeting you at this time and we're going to go for this length of a walk. So, and I'm good at not letting other people down in that way. So yeah, that's what I've done. I've reached out to a few people to cover all my bases. And also I'm toying with the idea, I haven't done it yet, of maybe getting up at 6:30 and doing my morning pages. I'm going to talk about that in another episode. Having all my shoes, one set of sand shoes. I've only actually got one pair of joggers, and my exercise gear all laid out and going for a walk. But I'm going to break it down even further. So I've been reading Atomic Habits again by James Clear, and he says make it even more simple. So even like having everything set up like your exercise gear, and just tell yourself that you're going to you're just going to go to your gate. You're just going to open the door, walk out and go to your gate. So if I can achieve that when I say I'm going to, I will let you know. We'll post about it on Instagram and Facebook. So yeah, that's the three things that they're the three big ones anyway that I'm focusing on this year is just continuing this process of decluttering, asking myself if I actually need certain things and then finding a better home for it, like I did with my stationery that I didn't need. The planning, so just knowing in advance what I want to happen. And that way I've got a bit of a snapshot and then I can go in and plan how that's going to be executed. And then having those set times that I'm going to be doing my practice and my music development. And the third one is movement, because the reason being is I just want more clarity and energy. And we know that movement is just so bloody amazing for our mental health. And if you can then also connect that with people, so, building and developing your relationships, you've got, two big things that you're doing that are just so beneficial to your life force. And just on a quick note, before I finish up, because I am going to finish up, is I also, today, I'm just letting you know, I started the Artist Way program, Julia Cameron. I tried to do it years ago. I got halfway through. I didn't complete it. But yeah, I'm doing it. And I'm going to stick to it. And I'll reference it in our next podcast episode together. But one of the really cool things that I learnt today is this idea of, and I mean, I've always kind of known about it, and spoken about it, but it's good to be reminded. But this idea of the shadow artist, anyway, I'll just leave you with that. You might be curious to go and Google shadow artist. Please do, and then find out more. But it's interesting. I've always spoken about this idea of, with my students, like, seeing yourself as having this inner child within you. I mean, this is just, inner child work 101. But even in a practice context, or, like when you're practicing something and, you're just not quite nailing it, you wouldn't yell at a child. So, why would you yell at yourself? So imagining that you always have this little you that's hanging around, and, you want to be encouraging of that little you. And that inner child is your inner artist. And giving your inner artist time and space to play and be curious and, just play and create art for the sake of creating it, not that it has to be good. Anyway, on that note, I'll leave you with it. Also, just keep an eye out too, because I am going to be sharing some exciting news. So the Fearless Singer membership, it's pretty much, we've closed our doors, but there may be an opportunity to get in. So I can technically take, actually, it's going to be exciting news. I'm telling you the news. I can fit in 5 more people to the membership. And so just watch the emails, because I will be opening the doors again very, very briefly, but also at that same discounted rate as I did over the holidays. So yeah, I'll keep you posted. All right, I'll touch base with you soon. Thank you so much for checking in.